Hello again. So today I'm going to be doing the tutorial about the Dirty Pour canvas wall art. We have a kit, a craft kit coming up that has 4 of these canvases and 3 testers of paints and the cell enhancer and a pouring resin. And this is how you can make your own poured wall art. So it's kind of like this. This is a bigger one, but this is one that I made previously. In a workshop at the store, we actually did these trays, which turned out spectacular. Now that was using 6 colors, but today we're just using the 3 color. Actually, I'm just using 4 colors because I have some of the Liberty Blue already mixed up, and I want to do blues and turquoises with a little bit of a metallic, the metallic brush steel, because I want to put them in my bathroom. In this, during the self-isolation, I'm hoping to actually paint my powder room, and I need some artwork, and these are the colors that I've chosen. So first things first, and this is actually super important, we have a little canvas, and you can see that the back just has a bit of a raised edge made out of wood, but this is really important. I'm going to put some masking tape on the edges, and it's really important because when you let the resin dry, it's going to continue dripping. And that means that if you don't put this little piece of masking tape, you're going to get these raised sort of edges, actually points, kind of like stalactites, that won't allow you to hang it on the wall. So that's why if you do this, you'll actually be able to hang it on the wall. So just, can you see how I've masked that off? There's just some little corners that I'm tucking under. And then we're ready to go. So I have an old disposable tray. You can see that there's bits of resin from when I did the other one. And I want to raise this. So guess what I'm using? Once again, I'm using my yogurt container lids, which are perfect for that. I just want to raise it so that it has a chance to drip. So it's going to be, so it's, I don't know if you can see, but it's raised off of there. And next I'm going to be mixing my pouring resins. So here's the thing with this, with the Fusion pouring resin. It's an amazing product. It's non-toxic, doesn't smell at all. It's great. Kids can use it, no problem at all. Comes with this kind of a lid that has a pouring spout. I don't know why. Don't use that lid. Just pour it gently, very gently, into the little cups. These cups are provided in the kit, and you don't need very much. It's surprising how far this stuff actually goes. Really surprising. So what I'm doing is, if you use that little hole, what happens is that you create bubbles, and you can't get those bubbles out. This is not like an epoxy where you can take a heat gun and get the bubbles out. You can't. You have one chance to not have bubbles in it, and that's it. So don't use that little pouring spout. Just pour it out gently. The next thing to remember with this is that you have to use just a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of color. If you use too much paint, you're going to end up with problems. So again, in the kit, I've included these little disposable spoons. See how there's just a little tiny, tiny bit on there? That's all I'm using to stir into this. And you stir it very, very gently. And I'm also going to put in 1 drop of the Fusion Cell Enhancer. The Cell Enhancer is what gives you those beautiful cells like these on here. But you just need 1 little drop per cup. This one, actually, you can use the pouring spout. 1, 2, 3, that's it. Don't use any more than that. So I'm going to gently, gently stir the little teapot into this one. And Fusion mineral paint has so much pigment in it that, I don't know if you can see, but there's actually a lot of color in there. The other one that I'm using is Azure, which is that, and you can see, again, just that tiny little bit. And that is all that you need. And all you're trying to do is get that pigment, the paint stirred in. I'm just kind of showing you. But gently. If you stir too vigorously, again, you're going to put in these permanent bubbles that you don't want. And the last one is I'm using a bit of brush steel because I have a lot of gray in my bathroom, and I want to repeat that metallic gray. which the metallics are not included in the kit, but you can certainly purchase them separately. I just love the way that the metallic goes. All of those mica minerals just come right out, and I think I've been a bit too vigorous. I see some bubbles in there. And I also have some Liberty Blue already mixed up from a workshop, so I'm going to use that too. Okay, next step is I'm going to layer. I just cut off this coffee cup. I'm going to layer my colors in there with the color that I want sort of most predominantly on the bottom, and that happens to be the steel. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it, again, very gently, layering it on the bottom. Actually, I don't even need this big cup. What am I doing? It's such a small piece of canvas. I'm used to working on the tray and stuff like that. But actually, I'm just going to use the small cups. That's going to be plenty. This is a dirty pour method where you layer all the colors and then you dump it on and see what happens. So this is the kind of a workshop that if you're a control freak like me, you have to let go of all your expectations, because nothing that you think is going to happen will actually happen. It's going to look completely different. And that's really part of the whole fun of it, because you don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to be cool. I'm layering the little teapot now, and finally I'm just going to use the Liberty Blue that's already been mixed. It's been pre-mixed. It's been sitting around for 3 weeks anyway, probably a month. And it's still absolutely fine. It's got the cell enhancer already in it. So I'm putting that on there. And now I have a cup full of mixed colors. And this is where the cool part comes in. Dump it over and you let it go. And it's going to start pouring and creating cells. It's very cool. I love the way the metallics look in there. It's just astonishing. So this is where you actually are going to tip it back and forth a little bit. And you're not going to see how gorgeous it is until it's dry. It'll be dry kind of by tomorrow, but it takes about 3 days to properly cure. So what happens is the cell enhancer produces all those beautiful cells like that. And it's a little bit messy, that's why it's called a dirty pour. This will continue creating cells even after I leave it overnight. So that's also very cool. So I'm just going to try and get some on the edges. You can use one of your little spoons as well to sort of coax it down the edge a little bit if it's not sticking. You can see I'm just kind of trying to tip it. I don't want to touch the top too much because I want it to be really nice and smooth. So I'm just trying to get it right down to the edge there. Oh, maybe just a little bit. I don't want it to have too much texture. I just want it to have a nice smooth finish. Okay, I'm going to hold the other edge of it. And you can hold it by the edge. If you're doing this with your kids, this stuff it's non-toxic. It also washes right off, so you don't really have to fuss about it because it will just wash right off with soap and water. It's a great project. It's so fun. And like I said, you end up with something that you weren't expecting. I'm loving the look of this. I love the colors together. It's going to look really nice in my painted powder room, finally. And one last corner. So this used about, this little canvas used only about, I have to say, 2 ounces of this. And this is a 500 milliliter pouring resin, which means 500 mils is 16 ounces, so you get 8 of those little cups. So you can see that there's more than enough to do your 4 canvases. Alternatively, if you don't want to use the little canvases, if you just want to buy the pouring resins separately and the metallic separately and the cell enhancer separately, many people have a piece of canvas art that they're sick and tired of anymore. They don't even want to look at it anymore, which I had too. This is a larger piece. You can sort of see that there's an image underneath it I just painted over it with whatever I had lying around, which was raw silk. And I'll be doing a larger pour as well in those same colors. So you can get, out of the one bottle of pouring resin, you can get 4 smaller pieces of wall art, probably at least a couple of those larger pieces. And the cool thing is that whatever drips off on the bottom, you can actually use that. After this is dry, in a couple of hours, this will be dry, and I can just reuse what's dripped into the tray. So it's not terribly wasteful, although you think that it is. Now, a lot of people might be tempted, including me, I was tempted to do that in my first pour, to add drops of cell enhancer directly to the surface here to make more cells. Don't do that, because what happens is that you get these divots, big divots. So this is in the store. This is like a little thing that says, do not add drops of cell enhancer onto your pour or you will get divots. Just something to bear in mind. Anyway, so I will continue this video tomorrow. I'll show you the finished product tomorrow, and how I'm going to take the tape off at the back so it will actually hang on the wall. So hopefully, tune in. Well, it's the next day, and I've come back to the store, my studio, to see how these turned out, and they turned out just beautiful. I love them. It's hard to show the detail, but it's just so lovely. All of these little cells and colors, they just turned out so nice. This is my other one, which looks completely different. And this is the big one that I did. The one that I had an original canvas and painted it because I didn't like it anymore. And now I've got my triptych that I'm going to hang in my bathroom, sort of like this. I think that's going to look really cool. And also, I had said previously that those little red cups were a 2-ounce cup. They're actually a 1-ounce cup, which means that you could get 16 of these canvases out of one bottle of the pouring resin, or a whole bunch of these. I mean, if you think that these are about 4 times the size, then you could get 4 of these like that, or probably one large canvas. Now this one looks quite different because what I did was, this is my drip tray that I had these sitting on to pour, and it had a lot left over, and I actually, to start this one, I scraped all of that on there, and then I added more of the pouring resin, but it's actually really rather different than the other ones, but I love it anyway. So remember I had put the masking tape on the back? This is what this is so useful for. Look at that. Now I'm taking the masking tape off, and I have a nice straight back that will lie flush to the wall. If I hadn't done that, I would have had these little ridges that would have meant that it would not have lain flat to the wall. It would have been kind of bumpy. So that's why I put the tape on. So we have these kits, not that many of them. I think I have 6 or 7 of these kits. If you want to do a really fun project, I highly recommend it. For stress relief, boy oh boy, there's nothing like playing with paint for stress relief. They are available on our online store. If you want to go there, there will be a link at the bottom of this video if I can do that, or on Facebook. And yeah, I hope you have some fun with pouring resin.